Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary to share another contemplative focus with you today on this New Year's Day. And speaking of New Year's, it's also a subject that we're going to look at today is ego on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all? This is a contemplation that was given to us by our teacher, Master Charles Cannon, many years ago, in recognition of ongoing changes that are not normal in the news that you see on your screen every day. And this is about the epochal ages that are 26,000 years long, and they represent different stages of consciousness in the creation game in terms of how densified and unaware it is within the human experience. So ego on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? The age of separation, the epochal age that has reigned for 26,000 years, is coming to an end. And it is defined as dominantly egocentric. And I think if you consider what's going on in the world today, you can definitely say that it is dominantly egocentric and going into, so we say, extremes today, which would mark the ending of one age, the beginning of another, a transition period. The Age of Unification that replaces this age and reigns for the next 26,000 years is defined as dominantly trans-egocentric. And as we transition from one epochal age to the next, it would be wise to be informed of exactly where our individual feet are in the progressive evolution of consciousness, so that we might more wakefully navigate our unfolding journey. Egocentric experience is orchestrated by consciousness that it might experience what it is not. The ego, as an instrument of consciousness, creates the illusion of separation and experiences that it is other than it is. It is a virtual reality based on the separation of subject and object, the relative imbalance of which minimizes holistic self-awareness. In other words, the age that is ending is one of maximized densification and minimal awareness of the truth of who we are. And this is what the prior age is all about. It's about maximizing that pretense that we're not consciousness, that we're just a human being, a flesh and blood body with a beginning and an end, and the fear-based experiences that go with that limited awareness. And now we're coming into another age, and the ending of the previous age, and this is going to be something as we see it now, the old age of separation, where the ego is dominantly present and active, and awareness is minimal in terms of truthful awareness, that the world is kind of freaking out in a sense, because the old ways aren't working anymore. The fear-based ways that we relate to each other, either politically, nationally, individually, those ways simply don't work, because what happens in all these relationships when you're coming from fear and you're coming from the limited awareness of your ego, there's always a duality, and there's always conflict, and you're competing for survival, basically. And when your experience is really based on this, a peaceful, loving experience throughout your life is just not going to be possible unless you can move yourself into more awareness about who you truthfully are, beyond the fear, beyond the limitations of the physical body, and so forth and so on. So where are you in relation to this progression that is happening as I speak? And the whole purpose of this, when we got this contemplation from our teacher, Master Charles Cannon, it was to put a focus on our own experience in relation to the individual evolution from being unconscious to fully conscious. And so I remember when we began this contemplation, I was pretty amazed by the time measurements of these ages, which seems like a very long time from the human perspective, and something that I experienced earlier in my life in other contexts. But but then what the whole point here is to look at what you did and how did your life unfold. How much of your life was devoted to holistic lifestyle and meditation, to your own personal evolution in a very focused, concentrated way, and how much of your life is not, which is not right or wrong. It's not something, it's not meant to be a basis for judgment. It's meant to be a basis for measurement. And everybody's in a different space. We've all come into this journey at different times, and we're evolving as best we can. And the main thing to really remember in all of this is that all of this is being orchestrated by consciousness, and we are that consciousness. So it's kind of silly to go into a judgment, like you're better than I am because you meditated for 20 years and I just started, and so forth and so on. True, there's a difference in terms of how adept we are within